Perfect. And what I want to do is I want to go over a training on overcoming objections. And I want us to go over overcoming objections for both homeowners when we're selling solar and also for recruiting, overcoming objections for recruiting. So I've got a list of some objections that are some common objections, and I actually text the mentors on the team. So I want to go ahead and have all of the mentors on the team here. I text you guys this morning. Feel free to unmute yourself and introduce yourself. That way everybody knows where you're at. And these are the mentors on our team. These are the guys and girls who are the mentors on our team that we recommend, right? So go ahead and unmute yourself. And we're going to ask them, it's not only going to be me, we're going to ask them how they overcome these objections. Also, mentors, any questions that you have that you feel that are important to share with the team, right? Feel free to share with the team, right? Whether it's objections for solar sales or for recruiting, right? So with that being said, let's go with Robert Hollis first. Robert, introduce yourself.
Hey, brother, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
My name is Robert Hollis. I'm actually out of Arizona, Maricopa County, if anybody knows where that is. I've been in solar now for going on almost 4 years. Super passionate. I started off as a sales rep, and once I really started understanding the industry, I made the move that I wanted to become my own dealer, take control basically in my own hands. JC found out when I looked at Powur, it was honestly just a no-brainer, which we can go through later. One of the biggest things for me is not only these, opportunities to mentor people, but how many states that we're open in, and honestly, just the credibility that we have. We'll go through objections, but I kind of come from the old school background of network marketing, meaning I really never got any traditional sales training. And I think it's honestly worked in my benefit. And, I'm sure a lot of people will probably laugh when you hear the way that I handle objections, because I was taught that if you have any objections at the end of your presentation, you messed up somewhere in your presentation. So I come from the mentality that if you guys are getting the same objections over and over again, you need to tweak your presentation to handle all objections in the presentation. So I kind of have a different take on handling objections, but it'll be kind of interesting to see how this goes. But thank you so much for having me on, man.
Awesome, man. So Robert is a Powur mentor from the Solar Heroes group out in Arizona. So, one of the utility companies that's a pain in the ass is SRP. I don't like to deal with SRP. It's a pain in the ass. And if you ever dealt with him, you know what I'm talking about. This guy is an expert with SRP, right? And also any utility company out there. So if he's an expert in SRP, that means that he's more than an expert in everything else. So he's an incredible mentor. He's also a licensed California mentor. So you guys want to definitely, by the way, after you guys introduce yourself, mentors, I want you guys to put your contact info in the chat. I recommend that all of you guys get their information. That way you make sure that you have, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you store all of the mentors. And here's the thing, these are the mentors that we vouch for, okay? That we vouch for, that are professional, that are not only a part of our team, but they're consistently in the system, and they're closing teams for, sales for our teams. So you want to make sure that you have their contacts in your contacts. So let's go with the next person down. We got Eddie Wong. If you could unmute yourself, bro.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? My name is Eddie. I'm out here in Dallas, Texas. I was actually born in California, so I actually do have a license out in California as well. But so I actually am in the industry for about 2 years now. Started off in the door knocking space about 4 years ago, and then I found solar. I was only making about, once I found solar, I was actually only a lead setter, right? And I was making $200 per sit. And I'm not kidding. I loved it. I honestly loved it. When I heard like no money down solar, I was like, wait, what? I was actually selling T-Mobile before. I was actually getting people's credit cards to actually like charge them like $400 for brand new phones before. And I was like, no money down solar, and they're saving like 50% in San Diego. I'm like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. So I was super excited. I love the gig. I was at that gig for about 6 months, being the top setter. I was doing like 10 appointments a week, and I was making okay money until I actually found out what money, what solar can actually make, right? So I saw like people making $10,000, $12,000 checks. So, I left that company. I went through various amounts of other companies ever since then, like different dealerships, seeking not so more money, but more so like it was like leadership, purpose. It was more so like intentions, people's intentions. And I'm telling you guys, like Powur has like been the #1 dealership or company I've ever been in. It's just like the concept of it is just, it's innovative. You get paid the highest commissions in the entire industry. And it's just like really, really good people. And like what I've noticed with Powur is that you're actually able to give here, while everybody else is all taking, right? So I've been in the solar industry for about 2 years now, and I've been really good at door knocking. I still door knock right now. How I got actually to mentorship was actually door knocked for past week, and just got like 4 or 5 deals since then. So also I'm a very, very spiritual person. I always tell people like business is strictly a spiritual game, right? It's 90% spiritual and really 10% like really the strategy. And so during that, run for mentorship, I actually fasted for about 10 days, no food, just water. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys just look into what the power of fasting does, like it really does have superpowers. So that's it for me. My name is Eddie.
Eddie, wow, I didn't know that you were fasting. Eddie just became a mentor last week. So him and Andrew Doe. Andrew Doe's not on here because he's actually in a meeting with a homeowner closing a deal. So kudos to him. But him and Andrew hit mentor the same day. So Eddie, if you could put your contact info in the chat, that'd be great. Dallas, Texas, and also California. All right, let's see here. Do we have David Perez? Let's go ahead and guys, make some introductions. Okay, and let's take about a minute to make the introduction so we can get in right into the objections. David Perez, are you there? Can you unmute yourself?
What's up, JC? Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
What's up, bro?
Okay, so what is it that we're going over, JC? I just hopped on. Sorry about that.
Just introduce yourself, bro.
Oh, got it. So yeah, my name is David Perez. Been with Powur for a little over 6 months. Became a mentor back in August, and love being a mentor. Love the platform. One of my favorite things about Powur is the mentor program, because we're able to help others succeed, and that's what we're all about: helping others succeed, helping others, come into the company and, get results right away where they're able to grow. And just the mentorship is just a game changer, because, anyone could be successful just depending on whatever pace you want to run. We're here to run alongside with you. If you want to go 60 miles per hour, we're there to support you. You want to run 100 miles per hour, we're there to support you. And, I'm just excited about just everything that's to come. This is only the beginning. Like JC says, we're just getting started. And it's awesome just to see guys like Eddie come in and rock it, and just see the whole team get elevated to a whole new level.
Yeah. And by the way, for those of you guys that don't know, David is going to be training at the Mentor Factory. He's a door-to-door specialist, which, by the way, Robert Hollis and Eddie Wong are as well. So excited to have him. And here's the deal. Success leaves clues. The mentors that I'm talking to today are all registered for the Mentor Factory. Again, for those of you guys that may not know, there's 11 tickets left to the Mentor Factory. Once these 11 tickets are gone, it's gone. This will be an event that we do every single year, once a year. And this is the first annual Mentor Factory. And after you're done with this Mentor Factory, you're going to get a certificate of completion for the Mentor Factory. So that's going to give you, for those of you guys that want to hit mentor, even more credibility, because you're going to be certified through the Mentor Factory. So it's a big deal. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. We're going to go. I see Anthony Bonilla. If you could unmute yourself and quickly introduce yourself, bro.
Good morning, JC. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Anthony Bonilla. I've been in solar going almost for 2 years, and with Powur for a year and a half already. Partnered with JC and Jonathan Bernasa. I get to work from home. All my sales have been virtual. I post a lot on social media. That's why I attract my clients who are interested in solar, and full-time dad, part-time soccer coach, and part-time solar consultant as well. And I'm based out of Corona, California, the Inland Empire.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome, Anthony. Anthony was one of the first consultants of my team. And matter of fact, I think he was probably the first mentor on my team, if I'm not mistaken. So, all right, let's see. Do we have Luis Perez on the line? Any other mentor on our team? Okay, we're going to get started here. All right. By the way, Keenan Garcia, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, he's also a mentor that we use, and he's also a mentor that's going to be at the Mentor Factory training. So are you there, Keenan?
Yes, sir. Hey, JC, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can, yes.
Yeah, pleasure to be on here, guys. I know that we're not on the same team, but we're all one, which we are. We're a family.
Yeah.
Man, I'm honored to be able to speak at this Mentor Factory. And it's just something I'm so passionate about, is to be able to give back and teach people exactly what I've done. I've been in Power for a year and a half, very successful, but this, like we said, is just the beginning. So I can't wait to see what the future holds.
That's right. That's right. So excited for that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this this training, guys. So here's some of the objections. And by the way, for those of you guys here, anybody here, feel free to type your questions for your objections in the chat. I want to make sure that you get the most from this. We're going to make this interactive. I do have some objections that I'm going to start with, but I want to make sure that we don't miss any of them. So we're going to try our best to answer every objection that's here. So the first one is, I can't afford solar. Okay, I've gotten that objection before. I know that some of you guys have gotten that objection before. So here's the question, okay? How do you answer that? So does anybody want to take it, or should I take that one? I can't afford solar.
I'd say with the rate increases that are coming here in our area, you can't afford not to go solar.
That's true. That's a good one. That's a good one. I love it. You know, that line, you can't afford not to go solar is the same line I told a couple of people on the team last week. Hey man, I can't afford to make it to California to the Mentor Factory. I said, no, you don't get it. You can't afford not to make it to California. So it's very, very true. All right, so I can't afford solar. Here's one thing I tell people. Here's one of the things that I very often, one of my techniques that I very often use when I'm talking to somebody and I need to hit them with some truth, right? I'll ask, well, you know, Mr. Homeowner, let's say I'm talking to Robert. Well, Robert, can I be perfectly honest with you? And Robert says, yes. Basically, he's giving me the permission to kind of gut punch him a little bit, right? So I say, Robert, can I be perfectly honest with you? He says, yeah. Well, if you could afford a solar bill, excuse me, if you could afford your electric bill, you could certainly afford solar. Because here in California, right, there's no way that you're not going to save anywhere from 30 to 50% of the bill. So, and then here's the thing, once you get good at it, you could get a good idea for what the average person is paying for electricity. So let me give an example. This happened in Lakewood, California. I sized up his house, right? And I said, if this guy's got a family and he's got AC, he's paying no less than $150 per month on average, right? Now, of course, with experience, you get a better idea, right? So I said, Bob, to be honest with you, if you could afford your electric bill, you could certainly afford solar. Because, in California, you're going to save anywhere from 30 to 50% off your electric bill. So I don't know what you're paying, Bob, but, would it be safe to say that you're paying roughly $150 a month? He says, yes. I said, well, we could bring that down under $100 a month. He says, oh, interesting. And he kind of chuckled. He says, that's a good way of putting it. The point is, of course, they could afford solar, right? But here's the thing, though. The more you do it, the more confident you get and the more of a backbone you have. Part of the key to overcoming objections, team, is having a backbone, okay? Same thing with recruiting, right? Somebody says, oh, I'll give you guys an example. I'm going to give you guys another objection. This is a recruiting objection. Some guy says, I don't like MLMs. I said, awesome. You're going to love this then. See the posture? So he's assuming that this is an MLM. He says, yeah, JC, I don't like MLMs. I said, man, awesome. You're going to love this. And he says, wait a minute. what do you mean I'm going to love this? And I'm going to go to you right now, Robert. I said, yeah, because we're not an MLM. In an MLM, let me give you a couple of bullet points. Here's a couple of, listen, guys, Robert Hollis is going to answer right now. He's a MLM expert. His father is an MLM legend. And that is not an exaggeration. Matter of fact, that doesn't do it justice. And he's made a ton of money. Robert's made a ton of money in MLM, and so have I. So I say, here's the deal about an MLM. First of all, I want to make it clear, Mr. Prospect, I don't have a thing against MLM personally. I actually love it. However, this is not an MLM. Let me tell you why. In an MLM, you get paid for the simple act of recruiting people. Well, with Powur, if you go out and recruit 1 million people, you will not make a dime. You make no money. The simple act of recruiting an MLM pays you money. So if you go out there and Powur and recruit 1 million people, you're not going to make any money. We only get paid when solar is sold, right? And so, and then we don't make any residual income on anything like, for example, any fees that you may pay. That is not the case. And additionally, in what MLM do you know that you could go out there and make $20,000 to $50,000 per month or more? There's a guy in Powur. Remember this, in any sales, facts, tell, stories, sell. See, I'm even taking off my sweater for this one. Facts, tell, stories, sell. Whether you're recruiting or you're selling, both of them are selling. Recruiting is selling. You're selling them on the opportunity and you're selling them on why to work with you. Okay. Facts, tell, stories, sell. So here's what I say. Not only that, what other company, what MLM company do you know that you can make 20 to 50,000 or more every single month off of your own efforts without a team? That cannot happen in MLM. It doesn't happen in MLM. As a matter of fact, we have a guy in our company last month made close to a little bit over $90,000 in commissions off his own effort selling solar. Remember, facts tell, stories sell. When you were a kid, you were told bedtime stories, not bedtime facts, right? So you got to hit them with the facts. Same thing with customers. I use stories of other customers. And guess what? If you don't have customer stories, we have customer stories. You learn our customer stories and you tell our customer stories while you're on your way to getting your own customer stories. Does that make sense, guys? Robert, I'd like for you to answer that question about is Powur an MLM?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to get back to when people say, I can't afford solar. Now, you guys got to understand where people's heads are when they say that, because if somebody's looking at a proposal and let's say their average bill is $200 a month and their solar payment's 150, JC says it the best. This isn't a sales job. It's an IQ test. Okay. So you're showing them that you're saving them $50 a month. Why would they say they can't afford solar? You really got to understand the psychology of somebody. And I'll break it down for you. Really, normally what it comes down to is, okay, great. You're saving me $50 a month. Awesome. If you have a good mentor, presented it right, you've explained that you're locking in their rate for the next 30 plus years forever. The last one and the biggest one, and people want to avoid this, is they're looking at that last number that they're about to finance $30,000, $40,000 plus $1,000. That's a little scary for people. So for people that I've mentored, and I have a sheet, if anybody wants to hit me up, I'll send it to them. You have to pre-phase their mind to look at the expenses in a different way. So example, let's say if their average electric bill was $200. I go, okay, so if you take $200 times 12 times 10, that means in the next 10 years, you're going to pay APS, Edison, SRP, whatever it is, $24,000. Am I right? Am I wrong? Look, what are you going to stop using your AC unit? What are you going to stop watching television? And this is in the magical fairy tale world that they stop raising the rates on you every year. If you take the $10,000 you're getting back from your federal tax credit, here in Arizona, you have $1,000. That means in 10 years, it's $30,000. Name me one. I know JC's a pretty savvy person. Name me one place, I can put my money and get 100% guarantee return on my investment in 10 years. JC, go.
Ooh, I had to record that, bro. I'm putting it on my stories right now. My man, that was good.
So you can gamble with the stock market, you can gamble with real estate, but as long as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, you're getting 100% return on your investment. So there's only two options here, JC. One is you can put that $30,000 in the trash and go ahead and continue to make a monopoly rich that continues to raise the rates on you every year, or invest that in the future of your family or your home. You seem like a smart guy, JC. What seems like a better idea for you? See, all you're doing is prefacing them is they're looking at $30,000. That's a lot of money. 30 grand is going to get spent in 10 years no matter what. It's either throwing it in the trash or on the roof. JC said it. Facts tell, stories sell. You can show them numbers of what they're saving, but until you attach that to emotion, once again, like I said, I get serious with this. If somebody tells you they can't afford it, you sucked at your presentation. Sorry. So that's the way I handle I can't afford it. Because if somebody says they can't afford it, you just didn't explain to them properly on where their money's actually going. So sorry, I went off there.
No, that was good, man. Guys, I want you guys to put in the chat here when you guys like an answer. Okay, give us some feedback, right? And Joe, we're going to get to your question right now. Here's what I do, literally exactly what I do on a presentation with a homeowner when I show them this information, right? Where they wonder that is too expensive. That's a very common objection, too expensive. So then here's what I say, Mr. Homeowner, I understand. Let's see if we can make this make sense for you, okay? And they say, okay, which by the way, here's something that's very important. And Ed Ayala and I were talking about this last week. If you get a customer to say yes 5 times in a row, it's almost impossible for them to say no on the 6th time. You want to get them nodding to yes, 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 to simple questions. Get them in a habit of saying yes, yes, yes. Then when it's time to ask for the close, right? Does this look like it makes sense for you and your family to save money in the short term and the long term, Mr. Homeowner? Yes. Okay, awesome. I just need a couple pieces of information and we're going to see in 30 seconds if you're qualified, okay? Let's start with your date of birth. I just assumed the same. But anyways, before I get to that, here's one of the things that I want to show you. I say, Mr. Homeowner, you're paying right now $339 a month on average is what we agreed on. Can we agree? Yes. Okay, great. So 339 times 12, that means that you're paying $4,064 per month. Can we agree? Yes. Can you guys see my calculator in the proposal, by the way? You guys can see everything? I can't see you guys right now, so let me know.
Yeah, we can see it.
Cool, thank you. So you're paying $4,068 per year right now, assuming your payment stays where it's at, which we both know that it's going to go up every single year. As a matter of fact, remember, facts tell, stories sell. As a matter of fact, Mr. Homeowner, Edison just went up 9%, October 1st. Okay, so assuming, let's say it never goes up for you again. Okay, you're paying $4,068 a year. So your net system cost after the tax credit, and this is what I do, I highlight it the way you guys see on the screen, is $35,000, $35,356. Okay, so if I take the calculator again and I take 35,356 and I divide it by the 4,068 that you're currently paying per year, Mr. Homeowner, that gives us 8.6 years. This means that in 8.6 years, you are going to pay Edison, PG&E, whoever it is, the net system cost of your solar system in 8.6 years. Does it still seem too expensive? Now, not only that, Mr. Customer, this is assuming again that your payment doesn't go up, which we know it will. So see, I'm going to show you a 4% escalator that your payment only increases by 4% per year, every year, which we know is a fairy tale world. It's going to go up by 5 to 10% a year. So this is extremely conservative. In 5 years, you're at 412 instead of 339. In 10 years, 500, so on and so forth. So this number, Mr. Customer, of 8.6 years is really about 7 years or less. So in 7 years or less, you're going to pay your utility company what the net system cost after the tax credit is for your solar system. Now the customer starts to say, oh, okay, because you're putting things into perspective. But see, you got to paint them into the picture. You also got to use storage. You got to use a combination of that, right, to share with people. All right, Joe over here had a question. Let's see here if I can find Joe's question. I get pushback regarding financing or adding credit, which affects their rating. By their rating, I'm guessing you're referring to their credit score. And if you're not referring to that, Joe, please let me know. Anything here you can add. Okay. So I'll go ahead and take that, by the way. Okay, and any other mentors that want to chime in on this, please let me know. Regarding financing and adding credit, okay? So here's a couple of things that I would say about that. Some customers are there's two things there. Adding credit, meaning, I'm guessing you're saying adding debt to the credit, right? First of all, here's what I tell people. Well, Mr. Homeowner, you have to understand this, that there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? If I was selling you a credit card, right, even if it was a 0 interest rate credit card, right, and you were just going to buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need, that would be bad debt. But what you're doing now is you're putting an asset on your property that's going to save you. It's going to net you more money at the end of the month. One of the things about solar is that you actually add, let's say, for example, in your example, we're taking you from $300 a month to $180 per month. We're actually netting you $120 per month. Okay, so there's good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is taking more money out, and good debt is actually adding, right? It's kind of like if you got a new apartment complex, let's say you bought 4 units, that would be good debt, right? Especially if they have a positive cash flow every month of $500 or $1,000 a month. Well, that's a pretty good debt. However, in addition to that, guys, you have to understand, Sonova, I use Sonova. Most mentors are not Sonova certified, which, by the way, if you're not, you're missing out. You should be. With Sonova, we actually have a bank. It's called Sonova. They have a 25-year 0.99 interest rate loan, and the debt doesn't even show up on your credit. So we'll be able to save you. You get all the benefits of solar. We'll be able to save you a ton of money, like I just showed you. Now, in addition to that, Mr. Homeowner, that debt won't even show up on your credit, so it will not affect your debt to income ratio. It's called DTI. You want to get familiar with that, DTI. That means debt to income ratio, okay? So debt to income, right? So it won't affect your DTI, right? Because think about it, it's kind of like an invisible loan, which isn't that what you currently have with your utility company right now anyways? Granted, you don't have a loan on your credit, but you have a debt that you're never going to stop paying. You've always paid it and you'll always pay it. So technically you have an invisible loan. So what we're doing is we're giving you an invisible loan, but we're cutting your bill in half and your bill never goes up, right? So that's how I would overcome that. Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Okay, good. Let me go ahead and go. So I've got a couple of other ones. I'm refinancing my mortgage on my home. I'm refinancing my mortgage on my home. Does anybody want to take that one, or I'll take it? Okay. I'm going to take that one. So here's the deal. If somebody says, I'm refinancing my mortgage, I say, oh, congratulations. That's awesome. Okay. So one of the things that I want you to understand is this: you could actually go solar. We will do a soft credit check, doesn't affect your credit whatsoever. And we could go ahead and stall out the installation until after your refinance is done. So we could go ahead and get it started. Okay. And it will not affect your, it's not like your credit score is going to go down, because, by the way, I'm referring to Good Leap. Good Leap is a soft credit check. Sunlight is not, right? If you want to sign documents, Sunlight is not. So I'm referring to Good Leap and Sonova. So I said, we have a soft credit check. Now, here's the deal. It will turn into a regular inquiry once installation and the loan is finalized. But the cool thing is that we could stall this out 6 months, even a little bit more than 6 months, because we could ask for an extension. So I would imagine that in 6 months, your refinance is going to be done, right? Yes. Okay, so what we could do is we could go ahead and get it started with Good Leap. It's a soft credit check. And then let's say 2-3 months from now, we're ready to install. A month and a half from now, 2 months from now, we're ready to install. And your refinance is not ready. Doesn't matter. We got a 6-month period. We'll just say, hey, man, we're going to wait on, you let us know when your refinance is done, and then we'll schedule installation and finalize it. Does that make sense, Mr. Homeowner? So that way it doesn't affect your refinance. I had a customer out in, and here I would mention this to a customer as well, because facts tell, stories sell. I have a customer in Anaheim, and when you're telling the stories, the more details you can mention, the better. So I would say I have a customer in Anaheim, you know, a very nice lady, Dominga. So notice I mentioned where she lives and I mentioned her name because it makes it more real. Subconsciously in the mind, they're believing you more and more because you're putting more details to the story, right? So she was in the middle of refinancing as well. And what happened is that I offered her this option. And she, you know, she was, maybe she didn't believe it or whatever the case may be. She was still a little bit worried. So I gave her the option number 2. We could go ahead and start with your solar system as a cash deal. Okay. So we don't even ask for your personal information. We don't even do a soft credit check. Okay. Then once your refinance is done, once we're into it, right? Maybe we're already getting permits and your refinance is done. You say, JC, I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and check my credit. We're already advanced in the system, you know, in the process. And then we switch you from cash to financing and we don't skip a beat. Now, the only thing, Mr. Homeowner, is that they are going to ask for a $1,000 deposit, which is 100% refundable once we switch you, or even if you decide that you don't want solar, you get your $1,000 back, right? However, that is one way that we can go ahead and get you. And at the end of the year, I push it even more. Now, I don't, because see, the 26% tax credit applies to next year as well. So I don't tell them that it doesn't, but I do tell them in my presentation, I say, hey, here's a deal, right? The tax credit is 26%. It was 30%. It's now 26%. It got extended to 26% this year, but the next bump down is going to be 22%. See, I'm not saying that next year is getting bumped down to 22% because I don't want to lie. Does that make sense? But I'm also not being specific about when it's going down to 22%. So the customer thinks it's going down to 22% next year. So when I'm doing this, I say, and then this way we could get you installed this year. So they in their mind are thinking, I want that 26% versus the 22%. You know what, JC? You got a deal. Let's get this thing started. Do you think you get me installed this year? Well, right now we're looking good. And this happened in September with this lady in Anaheim. And I said, yes, I feel very confident we're going to get you installed this year unless something major happens. But as of right now, I don't see why not. Now, if you make this decision next month or the following month, now we're cutting it very short. See, I'm not getting, now if they ask me, because next year the 22% tax credit is 22% tax credit, I'm not going to lie. I'm saying actually it's till the end of next year, right? So I'm just firm on not lying, even if it's a white lie. I try not to lie, right? So anyways, that's that. Does anybody else want to chime in on this before I move to the next one? Here's a good one. Thank you for that, Joe. I appreciate it. Terry, thank you for that. I'm getting a new roof. Has anybody ever got that? I'm getting a new roof, or I need a new roof. I'm getting a new roof, or I'm needing a new roof. One of the things I found out, this is when I was door knocking. The last time I door knocked was like June of 2020. And then it took me less than 3 months to become mentor, which by the way, I'm going to be training specifically on how I went from solar rookie, never sold solar in my life, to becoming a mentor in 2 months and 3 weeks. And how ever since I became a mentor, I never had to go door knock ever again. I got an abundance of leads. Currently, I have 50 deals in the pipeline on the way to install. I'm going to be training on that, 2-hour training specifically on that. I'm going to be training on how to do the training on visiting new homeowners and selling to new homeowners. And I believe anybody that can dedicate 25 hours a week to the new homeowner list consistently can close 2 to 4 sales per month. Anyways, this happened to me when I was visiting the new homeowner list. I knocked on a guy's door. I give him my flyer, my business card. I'm talking to him. He says, yeah, you know what? My wife and I, we are interested in solar. However, we need a new roof first. That's why we haven't gone solar. I said, so a lot of homeowners make the assumption that they can't go solar till they get the roof fixed. And they don't know, a lot of homeowners do not know that a lot of companies, including ours, we could get their roof and their solar done at the same time. So I say, oh, that's interesting. Well, did you know that you don't have to wait? He says, yeah, but I don't want to put the solar panels on my roof like that. I said, no. What I mean is you could actually get your solar panels and your roof done at the same time. And the cool thing about that is that you actually get a tax credit on both, right? So we could actually do it simultaneously and you don't have to wait. So what I could do is I could come by, give you a solar proposal and give you a roof quote, and then put them both in the loan, and I'll show you what your monthly payment is. And by the way, your monthly payment for a brand new roof with zero out of pocket and brand new solar panels with zero out of pocket will be less than what you're currently paying for electricity. Did you know that? He did the Scooby-Doo. Right? He was like, I didn't know that. I said, yes, of course. All I need, Mr. Customer, what was his name? I forget his name. Thomas, anyways, I'll think of his name later. Very nice guy. I gave him a nice bottle of wine after the installation. But the point is, he says, I didn't know that. Let me go ahead and talk to my wife. But I didn't know that. I said, yeah, all I need from you is just your bill. With your bill and your email address, I've got everything I need. And I could have a solar savings report in your inbox by tomorrow morning, which I'm not going to send it to him. That's just what I say on the door to get the bill, to make it very non-threatening. Because receiving a solar savings report the next day in their inbox is a lot less commitment than scheduling an appointment to meet with a salesperson to pitch them. Does that make sense? So yes, I could do that, but that's not what I'm going to aim to do. So now the homeowner's like, oh, really? All you need is a bill from me and you could have a solar savings report in my inbox by tomorrow morning. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Does that make sense? And I just gave them value. And I'm charismatic, right? I'm smiling and whatnot. And, I'm giving them verbal and spoken feedback and whatnot. Guess what? I got the bill, right? And I got the sale. Does anybody want to chime in on the roof thing? All right. By the way, anybody else that has any questions? Maybe there's a lot of comments. They say they have
a quick comment on roofing, JC. This might be a little insider tip. The guy kind of has the market here, but a lot of people don't know that a lot of roofers don't offer financing. And I have a really good friend of mine out here in Arizona, and he's actually a war vet. He got really injured. He cannot door knock. So he had the great idea because, he's pretty much got Maricopa locked up for this. So for anybody else in other markets, he literally went through the yellow pages, called every roofer that was there and simply said, hey, do you offer financing? Yes, I do. Okay, no, thanks. And found the companies that don't offer financing and simply asked them, how many projects do you have to pass up a month because you don't offer financing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. So those people that you have to pass up, let them refer them to me. If they're open to solar, then we can get solar on the roof. They get, just like JC, a 26% federal tax credit. And if you partner with our company, I can get you some extra business on the side. The guy does maybe 5-6 deals a month just from referrals of roofers that don't offer financing. So He pretty much got Maricopa locked up on that from my end. So I figured I'd just throw that a tip out there for everybody else.
Guys, the biggest resource is your resourcefulness. He just picked up the call, started making phone calls, man. I mean, 50 Cent said it best. He said, the only excuse for being broke is being in jail. Right? You got an opportunity right now, not to make a lot of money. You got an opportunity to get wealthy if you so choose to. That's a little plug for the company, man. Somebody here asked a question.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony, please.
So I was going to share an objection I used to get a lot when I first started in solar regarding the roof. The husband or the wife, usually the wife, would always say, I don't like how the panels look on the roof. So what I started doing months ago, right, is I started bringing up that objection in my presentation. If I knew that the panels had to go in the front of the home so they could get better production, right, I would always ask. Now I ask all my clients, like, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, how do you feel about solar panels being in the front of your home? And when I bring it up, they're like, oh, well, can we put them in the back? Well, let me explain to you why I would recommend they go in the front. And I'm really big on aesthetics. So, and I chose a black on black solar panel for you. I like how it looks. And I was shown 2 pictures, black on black, black on white for my installs. And I always tell them, I know exactly how you feel. My wife felt the same way when we went solar. She didn't want them in the front, but hey, when we started saving a lot of money, she didn't care that the panels were in the front of the house. So it's an objection I used to get before, but now when I bring it in my presentation, a lot of them, majority of my clients have been okay with black on black panels in the front. And I explained the time of use, why they need to have, not everybody, but if they have a west facing roof here in California, why they need to have solar panels in the front of their home.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome, man. Awesome tip. Thank you for that. Yes, no, it's there's so many things, and that's why I recommend that you guys use different mentors to learn from different mentors. Everybody has a style. And listen, the mentors on our team, they're successful. It's bottom line. You know, they're successful. They're successful at mentoring deals, getting deals closed, getting them to installation. And so that's why we do these trainings, right? And that's why we're adding to what we're doing, right? So somebody asked here about what if they say they have a very low credit score, under 600. Here's what I would say. Our lenders, Good Leaf has a 600 to 650 alternative credit. Matter of fact, I'm selling one of those today. Okay, the lady didn't even let me check the other one. She knows she doesn't have a 650, so we're going with this other. If they have under 600, there is an option called, it's a home run option on the proposal. They're not in every state. It's PACE. The thing about PACE is that it gets paid with the, there's a couple of things. First of all, they need to have more equity on their home than what the solar system costs. No bankruptcies, or they can't be defaulted on the mortgage, right? And anybody else that knows about it, please let me know. And then the other thing about it is that it's paid with the property taxes. So if the person pays the property taxes once a year, their solar payments will be paid all once a year. So the 12 months worth of monthly payments are going to be paid with the property taxes, which means that the rest of the year, of course, they don't have a monthly payment. I have not sold one of those. Do not come to me to help you with one of those. But if you need somebody, a mentor to help you with one of those, let me know and I could refer you to those, right? But I've never sold PACE. I did when I was a mentee. My very first deal I sold was a PACE deal, but it didn't go through. It fell through. So, does anybody else have any experience on PACE that wants to comment on it?
You know, JC, I wouldn't. I really don't know PACE. However, I'm assuming that if they were to give that objection, that's once the presentation happens. So I encourage that we just try to get them qualified regardless. Like, say you're working with the mentor. Like, if I'm working with the mentee, I've had customers tell me that, like, hey, my credit's not that good, and they get approved. So a lot of times, like they're getting their facts from like Credit Karma or like other areas. So regardless, I would still get them to apply. Like, just run it and see what happens, and then go from there. That's what I would recommend.
That's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. That happened to me. I had one lady says, I'm not going to qualify. She qualified for 100,000 through Good Leap. By the way, if somebody is iffy about their credit, don't even consider Sunlight. Go with Good Leap. And because Sunlight's harder to qualify than Good Leap. Okay, number one. Number two, if they know that they're not saying, hey, well, listen, we have a credit score between 600 and 650 with this bank. The best one you're going to get for the lowest payment on that choice is a 20-year 2.99. This one is for people between the 600 and the 650, but I don't have a 600. Hey, listen, this is a soft credit check. Why don't we just check? It'll take 30 seconds. And if you don't qualify, nothing gained, nothing lost. Does that sound fair? Let's try it. Yes. And I've had people, like David mentioned, that said they won't qualify, didn't think, they were pretty adamant about it. They ended up qualifying. You never know. And then the only other thing I would add on that is this. I didn't mean this to be a plug for my company, but it is, right? I have been in the credit repair business. I own the credit repair company since 2016. I own a credit repair company called Credit Brokers. If somebody could type in on the chat, creditbrokers.com. The point is, if you're not going to get the sale, and whether it's Credit Brokers or anybody else, if you have a good credit plug, use them. Here's one of the mistakes that people make. Somebody says no and they discard this person, and then they'll never come back and get the sale. And that's $3,000 to $7,000 that they're missing out on, depending if they're mentoring the deal. Why would you do that? Get them on a credit program and see if we could get them up to that 600 or that 650 or 700 FICO score. Sometimes it isn't even, because what we do is we dispute negative items, and we also have authorized user trade lines that we could add to the credit. Okay, so not every company does that. Like, for example, Lexington Law is the biggest credit repair company. They don't offer authorized user credit lines. We offer authorized user trade lines. So let's say, for example, you got somebody who just has one little negative item, but their credit is not high because they don't have enough credit. What if we add a 5-year or a 10-year seasoned credit card with 10% balance and a perfect, history for 5 to 10 years? I've seen people go from a 600 FICO score to a 700 FICO score in literally 30 days. Now, granted, it depends. Now, if it's somebody that has a bunch of negative things bogging them down, that's the same result's not going to happen for that person. But the point is that the consultation is free. Let them get a consultation, see if it works and stuff, right? Because what if some of those, thank you, Julian, what if some of those end up turning into a deal that the FICO score is ready? And as an affiliate, you earn 50 to 100 bucks for referring them, but you could track the progress of that person's credit in real time through your back office. So anyways, wanted to share that plug with you, because what if you put 10 deals through in a year and only one of them ends up being a solar contract that was not qualified, qualifies, and you made an extra 7,000 bucks for the year? Would that be worth it? Of course. I think everybody here at the end of the year on New Year's Eve would be very happy to receive a check from a family member or an envelope with $7,000. You'd be like, man, I'm starting off the year right. If you got one extra deal a year, that would make sense. So anyways, I would recommend contact me if you want to become an affiliate. All right. Next thing is, we talked about getting a new roof. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm interested. Anybody want to handle that objection?
I could share on that one. So
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm interested. I'm assuming that's before they get the bill or before they kind of show the proposal. So something that I really love to do with customers is like kind of take it away from them. I actually, I not necessarily agree with them, but I'll say something like, hey, we're going to take a look, Mr. Homeowner, to see if solar is a good fit for you. Sometimes it is a good fit and sometimes it's not. So what we want to do is sit down, go over the numbers, and then one of two things is going to happen. Number one is it's going to show you that going solar is not a good fit for you, or it's going to show you some really good numbers. That way you could really consider it and take it into like a deeper consideration. So does that sound fair? So what I love to do is take it away from them and let them know that sometimes when I show the proposal, it doesn't make sense. And it kind of like, we're going to get rid of that thought, like, is solar good for me or not? So I really use that a lot, and it helps me collect bills, opposed to like just trying to sell them on like, hey, like solar is the best thing. Hey, solar's going to lower your bill. Hey, you're going to love solar. Like I kind of let them know like, hey, I don't know if you're going to like it or not, but let's go over the numbers.
I love it. Hugh asked a question here about a door tip. Basically that he has a problem sometimes, which we all do, getting people committed to sending him the bill. I would like for David and Robert and Eddie, okay, one of you guys or all of you guys, to give me, or anybody here, any mentor, or frankly, not only every mentor, anybody that can attribute to this that's had success. What are some tips you can give somebody when they're having problems getting the bill from the customer? And I have my 2 cents, but I'd like to let other people give their 2 cents first.
I guess I can go first. My kind of, I guess, closing for getting the bill is, a lot of people have brought this up. Look, I'll actually build a solar savings page for you for free. And this is all I can tell you, JC. If I can't guarantee save you money from day one and get solar on your roof for 0 out-of-pocket cost and essentially get the government to pay for it, look, I won't even call you back. I'm too busy. What's the worst case scenario? I do a free proposal for you and I can't save you money. That's my little tip right there. So the other thing too, and I know David touched base on this too, is sometimes, I always just look at psychology. So when people hear me talk, just know it's after talking with so many other people. At that point, when people say, you know, and I've heard this from other people, well, yeah, no, that might be interesting. Look, what side of the house is your electric panel at? Left or right? Oh, it's on the right side. Great. Why don't you go grab your electric bill? I'll be right back. See, a lot of times when you're sitting there, maybe just tell them, look, go grab your electric bill. If I can't guarantee save you money from day one, get solar on your roof for zero out-of-pocket cost, I won't ever call you back or knock on your door again. I'll be right back. You go grab your bill, look at your panel. 9 times out of 10, when you come back, just go around the corner. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Stand there for 3-4 minutes. 9 times out of 10, when you come back around to the door, they're standing there with a bill. So that's just my little 2 cents.
I did that when I was new. When I was visiting new homeowners on a deal I closed. It's Lady Maria, Cerritos, California. First, her objection was, you know what? No, not really. We're not, you know, we've thought about it, but I don't think solar is the right fit for us. We don't think we'll save a lot. And I just talked to her a little bit more. I asked her how many people live in the house, right? If they have central AC and whatnot, and they have a pool too. I said, Maria, unless you guys are hardly ever home, I'm guessing that your bill's close to $200 or more. She says, no, it is. I said, well, listen, we could probably get that down to close to 100 with zero out of your pocket, right? And as I started this dialogue with her, because I realized she's a good candidate, she started to open up a little bit more. And I did exactly what Robert said. I said, can I take a look at your panel on the side of your home? She says, yes. I say, awesome. While I go look at it, is it okay if I can see one of your bills? Could you grab that for me? She says, yeah, sure. She turns around, walks inside. I said, okay, I'm gonna go around, okay? She says, yes. I go around, I take pictures of it. I have no idea what the hell I'm looking at. I'm new. I'm like a month into the business, right? But I'm taking pictures of this junk, right? She comes out. Yeah, she comes out with the bill. And I got the pictures, like, great, I got what I need. Okay, I'm not too sure. You may need an electrical upgrade. I don't want to give you some wrong information. I got to send it over to the engineers to find out. But in the meantime, is it okay if I take this bill or should I take a picture? She said, no, you can go ahead and take it. Awesome. So I took the bill. I actually shared that home. By the time I went to the house, I was already on my own. I had already done my mentor sales. This was my very first sale I did on my own. I took a picture of the home, and it was about 6 o'clock. The sun was barely coming. You can still see the sun. I said, here's a picture of the house before I close the deal. I'll update you guys after. Then I took a picture of the house. The sun was gone. The lights were on outside, and I had closed the deal, right? But I mentioned that story because that's exactly what I did, what Robert said, right? So thank you for that. Anybody else want to give the answer to the objection of the bill?
So one of the things, JC, that helps me with getting the bill, so I'm assuming this either happens like over the phone or when you're outside the house. So one thing that I encourage everybody to do is take the prospect as far as you can. So what I mean by that is, like, before I even ask for the bill, I'm confirming their phone number, I'm confirming their email, and I'm kind of letting them know that I have all the information. So at the end is when I ask for the bill. Oh, the last thing I need, Mr. Homeowner, really quick, do you get your bill emailed to you, or do you get it physically mailed to you every month? Okay, I get it mailed. Awesome. Can you go grab a copy for me? Let's say that for some reason they don't have it, like, oh, my wife is the one that has them, or I don't get it, all that good stuff. And I say, oh, no problem, man. I have everything I need to get started. But as soon as your wife gets home, please send me a copy of it. So if for some reason they're kind of giving me the runaround and they're not sending me the bill, like, say they get busy, because that's pretty much what happens a lot of times, is that when we're there, we spark an interest, but then they tend to get busy and life happens. They're taking the kids to practices and stuff like that. So I won't stress so much on the bill at that time. What I'll do then is I'll say, hey, I have that report ready for you. Let's set up a Zoom. Even though I don't have the actual proposal, but I have all the data to create a lead. And then I won't sit with them unless I got a bill. So I'll make them get the bill. But at that time, they're already thinking in their mind, like, oh man, like, he already has all my data. He already started. He already has the report. Might as well just kind of go through with it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. And also the state of mind that you're in when you're asking for the bill and the way that you ask for it, right? You're also assuming, and you're confident, kind of like, hey, this is the next natural step, right? Like give me the bill. Here's what I'll give you guys a tip on the bill. I've closed deals where people never gave me the bill, but I knew the guy was a great candidate. Okay, I had an install and I went to knock on the neighbors. It's called clover leafing, which, by the way, I literally don't have the time to do that. And maybe I could find the time, but I should do that more. I've got so many mentor deals, so many things in the pipeline that I really don't have the time. But not everybody is, some people tell me I do have the time. You could go clover leaf other people's deals. Ask them, hey, you got any recent installs in the last couple of months? Doesn't matter. Even if it's 4 months ago, doesn't matter. Your neighbor down the street, so-and-so just recently got installed with our company, right? You don't have to say that you're the one that sold it to him. But anyways, the point is, I knocked on this guy's door, didn't give me the bill. Finally, but I know that he's a good candidate based on what he told me, the size of his house, everything, right? I said, you know what? I forget his name. Let's just call him Bob. I said, you know what, Bob? Don't even worry about it. In my system, we have a system that gives us a pretty good idea of how many kilowatt hours you're using per year. It's not an exact, but it's a pretty darn good system. Not only that, you know, when I sit down with you and your wife, you guys could go ahead and bring up the bill because, you know, as you mentioned, your wife is the one that has a bill. Why don't we schedule an appointment to meet, and I'd be happy to come by and show you your solar savings report. So we agreed to a date. Let's say Wednesday at 7. Great. I'll be there Wednesday at 7. I showed up. He and his wife set this time aside. I never had the bill. But on the proposal, I can edit, right? So when I got there, he didn't have the bill for weeks. The wife, I had never talked to the wife. The wife's like, oh, you need the bill? It's right over here. She walks into her bedroom or one of the rooms, brings out the bill. I said, I'm going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to add up your kilowatt usage. I have an idea of how much you're using, but I want to make sure it's exact. So I took about 3-4 minutes. I added up her usage. I put it into the system. I said, here you go. And guess what? Boom, I got the sale. The point is, I saw that the interest was real. And guess what? If you're in their house, pitching them, presenting to them, chances are they're going to give you the doggone bill. Does that make sense? Especially if the numbers look good. Even if the numbers look too good. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't think these numbers are accurate. Well, if you have a bill, Mr. Homeowner, I can show you exactly what your numbers are, right? But the point is, this is where the mindset comes in. Your biggest resource is your resourcefulness. I had more time then than I do now. I'll be honest with you. If I got that client today and he didn't send me the bill, that would have been a sale I wouldn't have got. Somebody else would have got that sale because I'm just not going to chase them or go on an appointment without a bill. But as you become a mentor and you start to grow your team and you start to get more mentor sales, you start to get busier. But before that, guess what? You've got to be willing to do things, right, that maybe you're not going to be able to do in the future. You've got to put in that more time. You got to work with people. Does that make sense? And then once you get to having 2 appointments a day, plus managing your pipeline and recruiting, you're not going to have the same amount of time. But that's where, because I was in a hurry to get to mentor. I was in a hurry to get the ball rolling and pick up momentum. So I would take deals like that. But the point is, if they're willing to give me an appointment and they haven't given me the bill yet, but they're willing to give me an appointment, I say, I'm going to be there. And guess what? I'm going to show up, and more than likely, they're going to give me the bill there, right? So now I wouldn't replace that with somebody that did give me the bill. I would go to that person's appointment first. And even if it was via Zoom and not in person, if I got the husband and wife via Zoom and I'm presenting to them and they haven't given me the bill, they're going to want accurate numbers. They're going to bring up the bill, right? It's not ideal. I'm not saying it's ideal, right? But if you don't have an appointment tonight, I would rather take an appointment where if the husband and wife are willing to show up to the appointment, right? Versus have no appointment. I would much rather take that one, right? Versus nothing. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions? I'm on a payment plan. I don't need solar, Laura said. So I'm on a payment plan and I don't need solar. What I would do there is I would find out, by the way, what does that mean? I'm on a payment plan. Does that mean that they owe money to the utility company? I don't know what that means, Laura. So I'll get back to that. If you could elaborate a little bit, that'd be great. There's another objection here. Just give me the exact amount for a minimum system. How much exactly is the price for 8 panels? Whenever somebody gives me an objection like this, I automatically put them in a category of, I don't really get too excited about them. And the way they're kind of being dismissive towards me, I'm going to be a little bit dismissive, not in a disrespectful manner. But remember this, amateurs convince, professionals sort. Amateurs convince, professionals sort. An amateur is going to try to get a bad prospect like that, right? And try to convince them. Listen, let me tell you something about business. The people that invest the smallest amount of money are the people that give you the biggest headache. The people that invest the biggest amount of money are the ones that give you less of a headache for the most part. Okay, there's people that'll go into an investment with $500 and they're complaining, they're hounding you over $500, and the dude that invested 50,000 is like, hey man, I set the check, let's make it happen. Same thing applies with solar. So here's what I would say to those people. Well, Mr. Customer, it just depends on the panels that you're getting, right? So I can give you an idea for 8 panels, and somebody like that, I mean, I don't mind just shooting them a text, but I would, like, hey, here's what the price would be the range between this and this. Because here's why though, I don't care to really get that deal. An 8-panel deal for me, I don't really care to get it. We just closed an 8-panel deal like 3 weeks ago. We ended up canceling the deal. I told the lady she'll get $500 after installation. Then once we closed the deal, the next week she was asking me for the $500. I said, I can't give you the $500, it's after installation, right? She was complaining about $500, not getting them right away. What logical sense does that make? Why would I give you $500 before installation? And then the system was priced too high because it was too small. So we had to lower the price about $1,400. And we were specific with her. We said, listen, you could either get a bigger system for 2 more panels for $900 more, like the minimum. We weren't really making no money on the deal. Or we could keep which we recommend you get 2 more panels, not 8, get 10. Or we could bring it down about $1,400, but there will not be a $500 rebate because we're covering the $1,400 and we're not making money in this deal. She says, I want to do the lower amount, right? My assistant told her that, okay, there's not going to be a $500 rebate. And she just kept saying, and long story short, we do the contract at the smaller amount, then she's asking for the $500. Again, people like that are a pain in the ass. If I see a deal like that, I'm immediately saying, I don't want it. Send it to somebody else, right? Like I can't say that fast enough. We're gonna take a couple of questions more, and then we're gonna wrap up. You know what we're gonna do? We're probably gonna continue this because I've got about 5 more common objections. So next week we'll probably do part 2. We're gonna finish this last one and we're gonna close it out. How do you go about when expecting the proposal in the morning? How do you set the appointment? Ramsey's asking this question. Here's the way that I set the appointment. You could request with Powur a real-time proposal and you can get it back within an hour. So I feel very comfortable scheduling the appointment for the next day because within an hour I'm going to get back that proposal, right? So even if I don't have the proposal, let's say I got the bill and everything, I got an interested client in front of me on the phone or in person, I feel very comfortable scheduling that appointment even later on today. If I enter that immediately and I request a proposal in real time, let's say I'm scheduling the appointment an hour later. Let's say I'm door knocking and I say, how about I come back at 4 o'clock, Mr. Homeowner? Yeah, 4 o'clock sounds good. I'm going to request a proposal and I'm going to send a message to pre-sales, right? I'm going to say, I'm meeting with this homeowner in an hour. Can I please get a rush on this proposal? Can I get it back as soon as humanly possible? And they'll do it for you. They'll send it back. I've gotten proposals back in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, done, right? So anyways, for the next day, it's very easy. And then the question from Laura, the homeowner is on a payment program here in Texas. They pay $160 every month. His response to solar, not for me, got it. So he's on a flat monthly payment. What I would say is, I understand. And by the way, if anybody wants to chime in on this, please let me know. What I would say in that situation is, hey, I understand. We've had customers that are on payment programs, people that are not on payment programs, and solar makes sense. Because at the end of the day, Laura, what matters is, can we save you some money, right? So are you saying that you don't think that your solar payment would be less than the 160? Is that what you're saying? Right? Now, the customer may say, yes, that's what I think I'm saying. Now, if you know the market, like I know the market in California very well. I know the system size if we're going to be able to save money. So what I would say to that person is, look, I could go ahead and get a proposal. And if I would say what Robert says, if I can't save you any money with zero out of pocket, I wouldn't even call you back. I wouldn't even waste any more of your time. You know, but hey, it doesn't hurt to see if you could save even on that $160 a month, right? And remember, amateurs convince professional sorts. Anybody that has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. If not, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And again, we're going to continue this next week because we didn't even get into any recruiting. So next week will be another session of objection handling, and we're going to also get into some recruiting. So I want you guys to think of your objections, and I want you to come back next week with those objections. Okay, guys? And then last but not least, today, 5 o'clock, we've got the Power Hour opportunity webinar at powerhour.com. Any recruits that you got, make sure you send them there. And then finally, we are about 3 weeks removed from the Mentor Factory. If you haven't got your tickets, by the way, I just checked the website right now. My website guy hasn't removed the $149 monthly, $149 payments. I'm literally going to call him right after. He's a consultant too. I'm going to call him right after this, and I'm going to ask him to remove it. If you haven't got your ticket to that training, there's 11 tickets left. I would highly encourage that you go in there and you get your ticket, because it should have been $199 for a single or $349 for a couple, but instead it's $149 and $249. So if you haven't got your ticket, I would highly encourage you get that ticket, because we're going to be doing on Sunday morning a panel with some of the top mentors, and we're going to be interviewing them and asking questions from the audience, right? So you guys want to make sure that you guys are registered for that event. So with that being said, Julia got hers already. Okay, got it. Okay, Julia, reach out to me and I'll make sure that I check that you are on the list, but you should have received the receipt to your email. Okay, guys, we went a little bit longer. Thank you for the mentors for getting on here. And with that being said, let's crush it, guys. Let's have a great week. Bye.